Reflexes are involuntary reactions to specific stimuli. They involve coordinated muscular actions that are specific and localized. There are many types of reflexes from infantile to adult reflexes. Their main purpose is for survival, although they also open a dialogue within the environment, early opportunity to integrate sensory-motor information, and lead to the development of coordinated structures. Many infantile reflexes are the basis for voluntary actions later in life. This video will review some of the many reflexes that we have as infants that lead to either voluntary actions or continue as reflexes throughout life. Next, we will look at some of the eye reflexes in an infant.
Same thing with sound. He alerts to that. He actually looks almost towards the sound, so it's a good response.
Even though you may not realize it, the eye has multiple reflexes. For instance, the eyes have a blinking reflex. This is necessary for protection and lubrication of the eyeballs. Our eyes react to any peripheral stimulus that may cause harm to the eye. These are things such as intense light or a foreign body. Another reflexive movement babies have is one towards sound. When hearing an off-centered sound, the baby will look for it. One may think this is just maybe an investigative action, but is defined as a reflex by Mirror and Field. This concludes that auditory spatial information has an indirect influence on motor development of the ocular muscles. This reflex is important for survival because any individual needs to understand where sound is coming from to be able to further integrate information from the environment. During the navigation toward the sound, the vestibular ocular reflex is being used to adjust the image on the retina to correlate with the movement of the head and eyes. Because the head is almost always moving, this reflex is necessary for creating a stable image on them.
The next video will discuss the walking reflex.
Reflex, and see if you'll take some steps here. Okay.
While walking, we don't even think about activating each muscle in our leg, we just do. As discussed by Garfunkel, Nikolai Bernstein, a great biochemist, this reflex in babies will create what is known as muscle synergies, a strategy used by the body to simplify complex movements with large degrees of freedom. Phelan et al. Discusses a possible theory as to why this walking reflex disappears in babies and obviously returns later in development. Babies' muscles growth lags behind their weight gain. When the baby's legs were submerged in water, their stepping rate increased as well as their flexion rate. When a baby learns to walk, those muscle synergies created by the reflex remain to help create the coordinated structures used in walking.
The next reflex is a motor reflex.
In The Moral Reflex by Myrtle McGraw, she discusses the possible stimuli that all elicit the same reaction. The reaction of the baby in a moral reflex is to spread its arms outwards from the body, followed by their approaching each other in the form of a bow. The stimulus, however, can be anything from tapping the abdomen, blowing a gust of air in the face, a rapid transfer of body position, dropping the body a few inches, and hitting the table on either side of the baby. As McGraw states, this list suggests that the stimulation of the moral reflex is evoked by a quality of suddenness. This reflex is very important for survival and can be seen in later adult behavior, which suggests that this reflex never completely disappears. When falling, many people's reaction is to put their arms out. This most likely will protect their skull from impacting the ground, although they could end up with a fractured or sprained wrist, but I'd argue that's much better than a fractured skull.
As you can see, reflexes play a large part in our life. From the reflexive period, there are many reflexes that influence later actions. These reflexes can lead to what is known as coordinated structures and are the basis for voluntary movements. There are many categories of reflexes that could be discussed. Here we emphasized phylogenetic reflexes that have a direct correlation to adult motor skills.